everyone, it's registered dietitian Kara Corey here. I feel like it's been a little while since I've done one of these videos, so I hope you were missing them. I am back today to talk to you guys about organic versus non-organic foods. So as I always mention, if you find this video helpful, it helps me out in my channel. If you please share it with others, give it a like, and share it on social media. I wanted to talk about this topic today because not only has it interested me a little bit more lately, but this is something I commonly get asked as a dietitian. People want to know my opinion and know if, or you know, people always want to know what's the most healthy and what they should be doing, what the magic wand is. So it's funny that I get asked that question a lot. So I'm going to kind of work us through it a little bit. First, what is organic food, or what does organic mean? And organic basically refers to the process that farmers do who produce any agriculture, of them growing their crop, processing it, and handling it. And basically, to meet the guidelines set by the USDA, they have very strict guidelines actually. I won't get into all the details because I don't even know all the details. But in order to be a certified USDA organic farm, they have to follow very specific guidelines for how they produce their food. So organic food could be anything from your produce, fruits and veggies, it could be dairy, it could be meats, it could be grains. So it pretty much encompasses everything. So as a consumer, how are you going to know what's organic? Well, it's actually very simple nowadays. Maybe it wasn't so simple 10 years ago, but I think organic has become very popular since I became a dietitian and I've been out of school. It's not just the little health food stores anymore where you can find organic. You can find it at basically every grocery store. I don't think I've walked into a grocery store that doesn't have organic. Maybe Walmart, I'm not sure. But you know, your farmers markets, your grocery stores, you can find it everywhere you go. You don't really have to seek it out anymore. And how you're going to know things are organic? Well, you know, you will find a big organic section. Typically it's separate from your regular produce, but most farmers do use a little sticker or a stamp that you can find on the food to know that it's organic. It'll say USDA organic. And as I mentioned, it isn't just produce. I always, in my mind, go to produce, but it could be dairy, meats, etc. So there is a USDA organic sticker you can look for. It's actually optional on the part of the distributor, but why wouldn't someone use that and give their products credit? So you can typically just look for that USDA organic sticker. What that's going to mean that it's 95% organic. If it says 100% organic, there you go. But if it just says USDA organic, it's 95%, so they have a little leeway there. So like I said, it's very easy to find it, to locate it. It's not tough right now in 2014 to find organic products. You have to be careful. There are a lot of different food claims out there, so just remember, not everything is the same. A lot of people will confuse something being organic with something being natural. Those terms are both true, but they're different. You know, if a product's natural, doesn't necessarily mean it's organic. You'll see food claims like free range. You'll see things that says no hormones used or no antibiotics used. So those statements are all true. They are all regulated through the USDA, but they don't mean the same thing as organic. So there are separate food claims out there. As a consumer, it's tough, it can be very confusing, but it's good to get educated on what those different claims mean. The biggest thing with organic that I wanted to discuss is it healthier than, you know, conventional, traditional farming practices? It's a difficult question to answer because, you know, you're going to get different opinions. You might even look at some different videos on YouTube or talk to different dietitians and get different opinions. I truly feel very non-biased in the debate between organic versus non-organic. Truly right now, the research, there has been a lot of research done, and basically what they do is analyze organic food versus non-organic food and analyze the nutritional composition of those items to see if one truly is more nutritious than the other. You know, does your organic orange versus non-organic really, you know, host more vitamin C and things like that? And based on the research right now, it's not really showing that there's a huge discrepancy. It looks to be they're still about the same, they're just as nutritious. So in terms of health and buying what's more nutritious, as a dietitian, I'm never going to tell you that you have to buy organic food or that it's healthier for you, because right now the studies aren't really showing that. I gotta stop for a second.
That's fine.
I want to say so bad. Why use organic food though? I just told you there's no real study showing there's a big difference in nutritional composition. So why would someone want to choose organic? Well, there's still a number of reasons why people want to choose organic. One of them being the pesticides. Non-organic farmers use pesticides to help grow their crop and produce it and maintain it. A lot of people, you know, are more mindful of that. Pesticides are not good for us. They're not good for our bodies. There are limits though with how much non-organic items can contain of pesticides though, so don't think just because you're eating non-organic it's just you're going to die from it or something. That is still regulated for your non-conventional, for your non-organic foods, excuse me. But if you're just someone who's mindful of wanting to have less chemicals enter your body, then that's sometimes a good way to go. Organic farmers also, strictly with the USDA guidelines, they don't use food additives. It's pretty much banned. They don't use a lot of food additives or fillers during the production process. So you're going to find that these products don't have colors or all the weird additives and things like that. So again, you know, if you're someone who really tries to eat a little more natural and kind of take those things out of your diet, that might be a way to go. Another reason too is environmental. There's a lot of, you know, research with environmental farmers, clearly what they're doing and their practices, preserving the soil, water conservation, less pesticides. It's less pollution not only to the earth, but also to our bodies. And actually it's really interesting, and that's the area that I'm kind of learning a little bit more about. I am taking this functional integrative nutrition course that's really kind of opened my eyes to non-conventional dietetic practices. And this is one of the things we talk a lot about with nutrition genomics and, you know, our genetics in our body and the ability for our genes to turn on and off. And pollution is one of the things that can really help change your genes. You know, you might have certain genes, such as maybe you have the breast cancer gene or things like that. And certain environmental factors can actually, you know, help activate those genes in your body. So it's something to think about. It's something I'm being a little more mindful about, just thinking about all the different environmental factors that, you know, I feel like I'm a healthy person, I eat well, I exercise, I do all the right things, but sometimes I kind of don't think about what's in my environment, you know, the pollution, the air I breathe, all that kind of stuff. That's one of the areas I don't really think about so much. So that's one of the things, the environment. I don't, you know, I'm gonna admit I don't really pay a lot of attention to the environment and things like that, which you probably should. So for those of you out there that do, I commend you, and that would be another reason for someone to choose eating organic. The downsides of it, as you guys know, it's more expensive. I mean, I'm assuming you guys have seen that. If you look at the price difference, it's huge. And, you know, a big reason for that is, and another downside, you have a shorter shelf life on those products because they are more natural. They don't have all the, you know, the waxy substances added to them, the things like that to help maintain them and keep them, you know, stable for as long. I think about fresh apples when you go to the grocery store. You know, if you go to the non-organics, they usually look shiny and perfect and all waxed up. Whereas if you go to the organic section, you'll notice produce doesn't look as perfect because you're getting it in a more natural state. Same with meats and things like that. You might notice some of the meat isn't as big because it hasn't been pumped up with all those antibiotics and other things that they give it. So you will notice some physical differences as well, but not to get off in too much of a tangent. So you've got the cost difference there. So, you know, a lot of people just can't afford it, and I understand that, which is why as a clinician I would never tell someone they had to have it in their diet. It's basically up to you and what your priorities are and what's worth it to you or what you think is important. But definitely shorter shelf life, which, as we know, a lot of produce doesn't last that long anyways. I'm a classic waster of produce, unfortunately, and I buy a lot of frozen products too because of that. So you have to be mindful of that with your fresh stuff, that it doesn't have as long of a shelf life. Something for you guys to check out, there's an environmental working group that puts out what they call the Dirty Dozen every year that lists for you the top 12 products that contain the most pesticides, and then there's also kind of the most clean list. So I just wanted to run through that with you guys really quick so you had that for your information for when you go to the grocery store. You can search this list online. The top 12 dirty dozen that contain the most pesticides are peaches, apples, sweet bell peppers, celery, nectarines, strawberries, cherries, pears, grapes, spinach, lettuce, and potatoes. So if you think about all those items, they're products that have a very thin skin on them, so it kind of makes sense. In terms of the most clean products, these are, they tend to have a thicker skin. So the 12 least contaminated, we have avocado, onions, sweet corn, pineapple, mangoes, asparagus, sweet peas, kiwi fruit, bananas, cabbage, broccoli, and papaya. So those right now are the least contaminated. Honestly, I think it's silly for anyone to buy an organic banana. If you think about it, if you're peeling away the skin and not even consuming that, what's the point of buying an organic banana? You know what I mean? So I leave this information for you guys to think about it a little bit more. Sometimes, like myself, and I've talked to a lot of other people, people buy organic just because sometimes it tastes better. You know, it doesn't have all the crap added to it, it's very fresh, the shelf life isn't long on it, so you know those organic apples are not sitting in the grocery store that long because they would have turned to shit. So sometimes organic products just taste better and fresher. So there's a couple things that I've been trying and I buy organic. Things like baby carrots. I just love the way organic baby carrots taste. I don't need dressing with them. I don't need dip. They just have such a sweet, fresh, crunchy flavor to them. And I've heard some people say the same about organic potatoes. I've never bought an organic potatoes before, but I've heard they taste so much different than regular potatoes. So, you know, I leave it up to you guys. Expense is definitely a factor, but think about the other environmental factors too and how that's impacting your body. It's a very interesting topic. I think we're going to see more in research as time goes by, and yeah, I think that's about it. So that's my take on it. I'm pretty non-biased with it. I try to present the information to you guys so as consumers you can take from it what you want and make good decisions in the grocery store. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. Please share it with others. List some topics below that you would like me to discuss, and I will be back with more Ask the Dietitian.